Recorded.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I call this meeting to order at 7:06 p.m. We can start with the approval of the agenda. Do folks have amendments to the agenda?
Could we strike SFS, please?
Striking SFS.
Can we strike TGIF and ARSH to John Wooden, Board of Governors?
Striking TGIF and ARSH's appointment.
Could we strike Bruin Advocacy Grant and my officer report?
Striking Bruin Advocacy Grant and the External Vice President Officer report. I'm going to be adding an appointment. Oh, sorry. We can do that at the end. I also need to correct the misspelling of Kate's name.
Emily?
Yes.
Could I strike TGMF and ASRF? And I guess my officer report. I don't know. Am I supposed to strike that like beforehand from now on? Or how does that work?
The 4 bylaw mandated officer reports, standing officer reports are president, internal, external vice president, and academic affairs commissioner. So you would have to strike it
for sure
at the meeting.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Emily, can you strike ARC allocation, please?
Striking ARC.
Can you strike the SWC? Oh, sorry.
You're good.
You want to go with
Striking SWC programming fund.
Oh, thank you.
I was going to say, Emily, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the right place to motion to add something to the agenda?
Yeah, just tell me to add it. It's not an action item, right?
No. Can I add TGIF guideline amendments?
Yep.
Thank you.
We strike capital contingency, please.
Striking capital contingency. And then I motion to add Carlos Herrera's appointment to CS mini chair to the agenda.
I second.
Naomi, can you take over?
Yes. Sorry. Let me get everybody's votes up. Okay. IVP?
Yes.
EVP?
Yes.
Gen Rep 1?
Yes.
Gen Rep 2?
Yes.
Gen Rep 3 is not here. AAC?
Yes.
CEC? Oh, she's not here tonight. CAC?
Yes.
CSC?
Yes.
FAC?
Yes.
I think Noah said he wasn't coming. He's coming late. SWC?
Yes.
TSR?
Yes.
ISR? ISR? Okay. Awesome. By a motion of 10 to 0 to 0, the agenda is approved for this week. Moving on to approval of the minutes. Were the minutes sent out for last week? Okay. Does anybody want a motion?
I can approve them. Last week was the 22nd, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I approved the minutes for September 22nd.
I think you have to say a motion.
Oh, okay. I motion to approve the minutes for September 22nd.
A second.
Breeze motions, Emily seconds. IVP?
Yes.
EVP?
Yes.
Cool. Gen Rep 1?
Yes.
Gen Rep 2?
Yes.
AAC?
Yes.
CC? CAC?
Yes.
CSC, CSC, okay, FAC,
Yes.
FSC, not here, this is killing me, SWC,
Yes.
TSR,
Yes.
ISR. Okay, by a motion of 9 to 0 to 0, or a vote of 9 to 0 to 0, the motion passes and the minutes are approved for this week. Awesome. Going into public comment. So public comment is a time during the meeting where folks can be able or have the opportunity to speak to council at large. Reminder that you have 2 minutes to give public comment. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom from accountability. Use gender inclusive language and use the raise hand feature whenever you want to speak. So we'll begin public comment now. If you have anything that you want to contribute, feel free to raise your hand and then I'll call on you. Going once, going twice. Okay, seeing as there's no public comment, we're ending public comment at 7:13 p.m. tonight. Awesome. Moving on to contingency programming. Go ahead, David.
Hi guys. So this week we had three applications. The total amount requested was $1,013.98, and the total recommended was $733.98 to non-USAC entities. And I will write that number in the chat.
We love to see it.
I motion to approve the allocation of $733.98 to non-USAC entities.
I second.
Hachi motions, Emily seconds. IVP,
Yes.
EVP,
Yes.
GenRep 1,
Yes.
GenRep 2,
Yes.
AAC,
Yes.
CAC,
Yes.
CSC,
Yes.
FAC,
Yes.
FSC. Oh, I saw Noe's message, but it's not what I thought it was. SWC,
Yes.
TSR,
Yes.
ISR. Okay. Okay, by a vote of 10 to 0 to 0, the motion passes and the capital contingency, or the contingency funds are approved for this week. Cool. Okay, so we're moving on to the next thing, but I just wanted to check in like real quick. Does that mean that we're only doing 2 officer reports this week? Okay, did we go back to like the format that's like outlined in the bylaws? Okay, I just wanted to see. Cool. All right then, so we have no special presentations and we're moving right into appointments. We are going to try to time them for tonight and try to keep them to 15 minutes. Emily, once the 15 minutes expires, let us know and then someone can like motion to add more time. Or like just say like, hey, can we add more time or something? We'll try to keep them timed so that way we can like do this faster. Cool. So we'll start tonight with Clarissa Arjona to Academic Senate, the Legislative Assembly. We'll start with a 1-minute introduction from Clarissa and for all of the appointments that come after. Then we'll go into a 10-minute Q&A. This isn't going to add up to 15 minutes. I'm just realizing. It's fine. 17 minutes. The 10-minute Q&A from council. Clarissa will give her 1-minute closing, and then council will debate or talk about our things for about 5 minutes and then go into voting. So Breeze, if you want, you can introduce Clarissa, and then Clarissa can go on and introduce herself.
Okay, hi everyone. I am so excited tonight to introduce to y'all Clarissa Arjona. She is a incoming she's a second year now. Chica next major. I'm sorry, I don't remember her major, but she's a great person. I'm just gonna say that. She's just so full of life, and she definitely has like what it takes to take on administration. We are appointing her to legislative assembly, and actually she will be serving as my chief of staff, as my previous chief of staff had to leave. So we got her in, and she agreed to be in AAC this year. But we're just so excited to see her grow, and I hope that tonight she gets approved and appointed to the legislative assembly. So I'll let Clarissa tell you a bit more about herself. But she's really cool and wants to do education policy in the future, so we're excited.
Hi, thank you, Breeze, so much for that introduction. And hi to all of the council. I just want to first off thank you guys so much for all this work that you put in. Like, it really doesn't go underappreciated. Not appreciated. You guys being at these meetings and putting in that time and dedication to really better UCLA. My name is Clarissa Arjona. I'm a incoming, now a second year history major in Chicanx Studies and Central American Studies minor. As Bree said, I will be hopefully joining Academic Senate on the Legislative Assembly. I just wanted to say that I really wanted to get involved with Academic Senate because after finishing off my first year at UCLA, I really didn't feel that I had really immerse myself into joining the UCLA community, especially getting involved in student government. I was really involved on my campus prior to coming to UCLA, just getting involved with ASB and student government, and really like talking on different councils with my administrators at my high school. And I also work for my city here. It's a pretty small city in the Bay Area. So I definitely wanted to build more community and get involved in USAC and Academic Senate. Education is a really big, of great importance to me, and I just wanted to continue that here at UCLA. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Clarissa. So we'll start with council questions. Council members, if y'all have questions, you know what to do. I'll start us off for tonight. My first question is, given that LGA is a body that literally only meets like 3 or 4 times per year, and there's about like 100 to 200 people within the meetings, usually faculty members, how do you plan to make that an effective space to levy USAC's or AAC's goals for the year?
Thank you. I definitely would like to communicate with the student body as much as I can going into that meeting, and definitely coming in prepared, especially since it's going to be such a large meeting, and I believe there's only 5 of us on the Legislative Assembly. So definitely going in prepared, coming in with questions, hopefully serving students and communicating as much as I can with the student body, especially as we're remote. And I feel like that gives an opportunity for people to communicate with us as much as possible remote, like through email or, communication, not in person, especially since we're not on campus. So we definitely want to get as much of their voices heard at that meeting as possible. I'm not sure if that answers your question. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Zuleika?
I think Emily had her hand up first.
My bad. Go ahead, Emily. Then Zuleika.
Thank you. Hi, Clarissa. My question for you is, what is your specific vision for this committee this year, or one specific thing you hope to advocate for?
All right, thank you. My vision for this committee is that even though we're all on separate locations, that we really try to build community within our small legislative assembly, definitely going into those meetings with unity, because it's going to require it, especially in facing administrators, and definitely building connections so that we can best represent the student body in those meetings. Something I definitely want to advocate for is addressing those inequities and disparities within everyone's different UCLA experience, given that classes are online. Making sure that administrators know how difficult it is, not just stating that it's difficult, but also taking actions and keeping them accountable for accommodating for those difficulties that every student's facing. No one's facing the same experience right now. Even if we're like in the same house, same community, everyone has it different, and just realizing the diversity in everyone's experiences right now. So,
Zuleika?
Clarissa, so I have sort of like a two-pronged question. The first one is, how do you plan to take your vision and action? So like, how are you going to address the issues of the students? How are you going to interact with the students and engage? And then the second one is, how do you plan to hold faculty accountable when they make decisions that you are not, that you're not okay with?
hi, Zuleika. Thank you for that question. So definitely, in terms to your first part of the question, um, definitely, as I said before, trying to communicate with the student body as much as I can, whether that's holding surveys, making myself well known as a representative on legislative assembly, letting them know that there is open communication with me and that any and all concerns that they have or comments they want to make sure are known, given any decisions that administration makes. Um, this is not my first time dealing with administrators. I know that sometimes they act on their behalf instead of the well-being of all students. So definitely, what I like to do is document as much as I can. I mean, I know meetings are probably have meeting minutes, but bringing up past promises in the past, and reminding them of the promises and the values that we claim on our UCLA campus, especially in regards to decisions that don't uphold those values, and that don't best serve our community.
Thank you. Emily, was your text for me to call on you again?
No, it was the first time.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Okay. I just have one last question. You said you had like dealt with administrators or like faculty before. Can you elaborate on like what you meant by that?
Yeah, of course. So for 2 years out of high school, my junior and senior year, I served as the ASB treasurer. So especially dealing with finances or anything dealing with that, I was very always in either contact with my district or principal administrators, whether it was having them sign paperwork every day, probably every hour. I was speaking to them, also going to district meetings, as well as ASB meetings. We had probably monthly meetings. Each officer was assigned an administrator, so I would have meetings with them every month or so. So, yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Seeing as there's no more questions, you can feel free to give your 1-minute closing.
I'd just like to reiterate I'm so thankful for this opportunity, and I really appreciate all of the hard work you guys are putting in. I'm so excited to hopefully be a part of this legislative assembly this year in academic senate. I'm really looking forward to better serving the community here at UCLA because I really love it. As like going through my first year, I really enjoyed my time. Even though it's cut a little short in person, I'm definitely enjoying remote as well. The community, you can still feel it even here from the Bay Area. So, yeah.
Not have a recommendation for Clarissa. Reason being, we wanted to ask some more concrete information from you at council, so you'll notice that your answers was your answers for promoting transparency and sharing information with the UCLA community.
Thank you.
Anybody else from ARC want to comment?
Yeah, I just want to say that I was a little worried interviewing you because I wasn't sure what experience you had in dealing with faculty, because faculty can sometimes be very difficult to work with, but I'm very glad to hear you say that you have had some experience in the past on how to communicate with them. And that really just pushed me forward into more. So like, I'm sure that you can do this job and you can sit in the room, especially since you're going to have your fellow, your fellow academic senators along with you as well as students. So I think that, like you said, if you all stick together and just work on it, I'm pretty sure that you all will make a huge difference this year.
Thank you so much for saying that, Zuleika. That means a lot.
Yeah, I just wanted to say too, I think there's a lot of room for growth, and I think that this is possibly a committee that you can do it on. I say possibly because it's not a committee that meets very often, so you definitely have to be well aware of what's going on within like the academic policy realm and also what's going on within the office. So I would encourage you to just make sure that you stay on top of all of that to make sure that you're making the most out of these meetings, because they are important, but they don't happen often. So you really have to know what you're going in there for. But other than that, I would say I think that you will do a fine job.
Thank you.
Cool. Does anybody else have anything that they want to say? If not, a motion.
I motion to approve Barista Arjona to the Legislative Assembly.
I second.
Cool. Breeze motions. Emily seconds. We'll go into a vote. IVP?
Yes.
EVP?
Yes.
Gen Rep 1?
Yes.
Gen Rep 2?
Yes.
AAC?
Yes.
CAC?
Yes.
CSC?
Yes.
SAC?
Yes.
FSC? SWC?
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
TSR?
Yes.
ISR? Cool. By a vote of 10 to 0 to 0, the motion passes, and Gladys is appointed to the Legislative Assembly. Congratulations.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Cool. Moving on to Kate. I always butcher your last name, Kate. Kate McInery to Academic Senate Undergrad Council. Breeze, if you want, you can introduce Kate, but also I feel like Kate can also, a lot of people know Kate. Kate can also just start. Doesn't matter. Y'all choose.
I can introduce her real quick, just because she's my friend. Hi, everyone. Y'all know Kate. Kate's cool. Kate and I go long back, but anyway, Kate's a third year public affairs major. She's really cool and like basically involved in like a lot of organizing all around LA, like everywhere. So I mean, she can probably answer y'all's questions, but she was also in UGC last year. So yeah, she's a great addition to UGC.
Thank you, Breeze. Hey, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Kate McInerney. As Breeze said, I served on UGC last year, so I'm just interested in this position because last year it gave me a sense of purpose and also connectedness to student government and advocacy on campus. It was kind of my entree into those things, which I've gotten more involved in this year. Because of my experience, I feel like I have a pretty solid foundation in how UGC works and kind of the going-ons of campus. And this year, I definitely want to strengthen the advocacy piece and really work with my fellow senators to get stuff done. So generally a vision, this is kind of broad scheme, but within the meetings on the day-to-day, like remembering to resist elitism both in this space and in the university in general, and making the public university more public. So that's kind of broad and vague, but a few like platforms and passion projects that I have. one pertains to the organizing that I've been doing with a good number of you, which is like the No UCPD Coalition. And I'm really interested in getting faculty more on board with it. Obviously, there's the Dive Invest Faculty Collective, but in terms of reaching out to other faculty and really like building those connections and getting more people on our side, I feel like the Academic Senate would be an awesome place to do that because you're sitting right there with faculty, with administration. And so, yeah, just generally kind of influencing and taking this model of like divesting from modes of policing and punishment and investing in models of care. And like those principles can go to a lot of issues that are discussed in UGC, such as last year we discussed student discipline, crisis response, and like even in what some of the faculty were saying, these issues come up, in other words, and they're also pertain to general academics. So that's one thing. I think also in that it's a lot, right, investing in Black Bruins, other students of color, formerly incarcerated and system impacted students, and in that sense, kind of bolstering the study that comes from ethnic studies departments. And that kind of transitions to another piece of like noticing last year that there are very few faculty of color that serve on UGC, and just one, like alleviating or not alleviating, but understanding the process of that and how faculty get appointed, and then also maybe just advocating around having more faculty of color serve on UGC and making that space like amplifying voices in that space that just like get shut down all the time. I think that that's a lot as students, but like really something that is crucial. And then generally this kind of circles back to the No UCPD divest invest piece, but generally like studying this model of faculty governance and the role that students can play, because one of the invest demands is creating a board of faculty government. So this is kind of, yeah, a way to like study that and maybe do some experimentation there. Yeah, this is a spiel, but okay, basically just excited, happy to answer questions. Yeah, I didn't know how much I should say.
Thank you, Kate. So we'll start with questions. Does anybody have, okay, Justin, we'll start with you, and then I'll put myself in the queue after.
That's okay. Yeah, I wanted to ask specifically about your experience last year in UGC, and what are some things about kind of, how meetings went along and like how advocacy went that you could improve for next year?
For sure. I think one of the biggest things is as reps, or as senators, student senators, we would kind of meet and debrief the meetings, but I think doing the prep ahead of time and really like looking at the agenda more and planning based on the agenda and kind of going in with a game plan of like what we want to say and how we want to maybe vote. Not that we all have to vote together, but that can sometimes make our point stronger. So I think definitely the ahead of time prep, consulting with fellow senators, both in UGC and in other committees. And then also just being more proactive about setting up meetings with faculty and finding those faculty who can be like point people, building those relationships. So yeah.
One question I had, I'm really glad that you mentioned like being more proactive and like reaching out to the different UGC members, because I know we did a lot of texting like throughout the meetings, but it could have been better to also like prep for them too. One question that I had is, one initiative that I had launched on UGC last year was advocating for like textbook affordability and also advocating for the course symbol to be added onto the My UCLA, so that students can see whether or not a course was going to be like under $50 or free. How do you see your position engaging and like making sure that that's carried through within UGC?
For sure. I think that because I know there are some faculty, when you presented last year, a lot of the faculty were like, whoa, I've never thought of this. And I know a few of them are returning, but kind of bringing this issue up at the start and saying like, hey, remember this thing that students presented on last year. And for those of you who weren't there, this was kind of the rundown, and really saying like, this is a big thing we want to continue to push for, getting that syllabus notation on there with the textbook affordability. Like, I think that could easily be one thing that we start early on as a project we're working on. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I just kind of wanted to hear that you guys were like going to press on with it, but that's good. Cool. Emily?
Cool. Hey, Kate. So one of my questions is, what are your time commitments for the upcoming school year? You know, Breeze said that you were always organizing like around everywhere, and I just wanted to check in with you about like how you're going to balance your commitment to.
Thanks for that question, because it's definitely a good reminder. My other commitment is in Office of the President as the safety liaison, which for the most part has meant going to No UCPD coalition meetings and planning around that, which I think is like something I would do. Point being, that is a big commitment too, and I would see that this academic senate and that are definitely my top two. And I'm also in Cultural Affairs Commission, which is weekly meetings, planning art events, and those are for sure my three priorities. I am currently, like this summer, I've been involved in community organizing in LA. I might continue basically it all revolves around like USAC are definitely my priorities, and if that means like sacrificing the stuff that's more community centered, because also school is starting, so I just can't do all of that. But yeah.
Thank you, Kate. And Justin, is that an old hand? Oh, okay, cool. Does anybody else have any more questions? Emily, where are we at with time?
We are at 5 minutes.
Okay, does anybody have a last burning question? Okay, well, if not, Kate, feel free to give your closing statement.
Yeah, super quick. Unlike the intro, just want to reiterate my excitement for the position and kind of this opportunity to have connect student power to the power of the academic senate.
Dang, that was fast. Okay, cool. Go ahead, Ark.
Yes, so Ark voted 3-0 to give a positive recommendation for Kate. We really liked how she had experience last year, and that she speaks up and offers different perspectives in conversations, which is something that's important for academic senate, and that she's pretty connected with different communities on campus.
Anybody else from Ark?
Yeah, I just want to say, Kate, I was super impressed with just the amount of knowledge that you have on the academic senate, or this particular part UGC. And I really loved your vision. I feel like your vision was very unique, especially like, you know, given most of the appointments that we've done. I really loved your vision for it. And let me just say that you were probably one of the only candidates that gave me what I wanted to hear about the transfer community, where you provided not only like ideas, but you're like, hey, let's bring transfers to UGC. Let's not just survey them, let's bring them to the space. And so I want to thank you for that, because that is something that I've been wanting to hear, you know, so thank you.
Thank you.
I also just wanted to say, having served with Kate last year, she's probably like one of the most seasoned people in academic senate, and she's learned and grown so much. But I also love how much she like tries to elevate others' voices in that space too. There were times when I felt uncomfortable being a Black woman in the space, and like Kate was there to like use her privilege to like uplift me. So shout out to Kate, and I think that she would make a phenomenal appointment to Academic Senate again this year. Cool. Oh, did you want to say something, Kate? Go ahead. Okay, cool. If no one else has anything to say, a motion?
I motion to, okay, ahorita lo hago. I motion to approve Kate McInerney to the undergraduate council.
I second.
Awesome. Breeze motions, Zuleika seconds. Okay, IDP,
Yes.
EVP,
Yes.
Gen Rep 1,
Yes.
Gen Rep 2,
Yes.
AAC,
Yes.
CAC,
Yes.
CSC, CSC. Okay, FAC,
Yes.
FSC,
Yes.
SWC,
Yes.
TSR,
Yes.
ISR. Okay. By a vote of 10 to 0, the motion passes, and Kate McInerney is approved or appointed to undergrad council. Congratulations, Kate.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. Moving on to Carlos Herrera. So, or as CS mini chair. Actually, wait, before we move on, I'm so sorry. We never approved the agenda. Me and Emily, we had motioned to add Carlos, but we never approved the agenda. Can someone motion?
Wait, do you
I
mean
motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
Can you say retroactively just in case?
Retroactively. I motion to retroactively approve the agenda for tonight.
I second.
Emily motions, Justin seconds. IDP?
Yes.
EVP?
Yes.
Gen Rep 1?
Yes.
Gen Rep 2?
Yes.
AAC? AAC? Okay. CEC?
Yes.
Or, wait,
CAC, it's me. It's me.
oh, CAC. Okay.
Yeah.
ESC?
Yes.
FAC?
Yes.
FSC?
Yes.
SWC?
Yes.
TSR?
Yes.
And then ISR? Okay. By a vote of 9 to 0, the motion passes and the agenda is approved for tonight. Cool. So sorry about that, y'all. Now we're moving on to Carlos Herrera to CS mini chair. So Lalo, if you want, would you introduce Carlos, and then Carlos can give his 1 minute intro.
Yeah, for sure. So Carlos had previously been appointed to CS Mini Committee in general. We just wanted to kind of run through all the candidates and stuff before moving forward with the chair. And while we still have an open position left, pending Carlos's appointment, we felt that he we had previous experience with CS Mini before, having served on the committee last year, and him being tapped in with various service orgs on campus, as well as having a clear vision and a clear idea on how CS Mini could improve to better service service orgs on campus, really stood out for us, and is the reason why, or one of the reasons why we chose him to serve as CS mini chair. So with that, I'll hand it off to Carlos.
Great, thank you, Lalo, for that introduction. I'm extremely grateful to be in front of all of you, the council, and also grateful for your consideration for me to be part or to actually lead the CS mini committee this year. And I feel like my experiences in regards to previous orgs have been extremely beneficial. I've learned so many things. And apart from volunteering, I feel like the volunteers are similar, like students to teachers, that they teach you a lot more than what you are able to provide to them. And being on CS Mini this last year, after volunteering with some previous orgs, it was a truly accomplished. I feel like it was an accomplishment, and it was extremely satisfying because I could finally be behind the scenes of um, what it takes to run an organization, and being able to contribute and provide these organizations with what the funds that they need to carry on whatever their goals may be. It's just an extremely satisfying feeling to have, because I know what it takes to volunteer and take time out of your schedule to serve your community's needs. And it's I feel like people who are in funding committees are a little bit less appreciated because it's more behind the scenes, but um, it's something I do love to do, and it was a great experience. I was able to build family within the committee last year, and I hope to do that this year as well.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions for Carlos? Jonathan usually asks the questions on this one.
If you'd like, I can talk about maybe previous questions that I was asked, and then maybe just elaborate a little bit more, if that
Okay.
works. So, I mean, a question that I've received from previous interviews was, how would we improve um, CS Mini as a whole, and how we can advertise a lot more to students who just don't know us, organizations that don't know about what we have to offer. And like many people on the committee last year, we did feel that not many organizations knew what the community service, um, the CS Mini Committee, Mini Fund, um, was a resource to them. They did not know what it was, so I feel like, um, as it's our obligation and job to at least this year improve on that, and maybe start a social media page where we can start listing out workshops on how to fill out the CS Mini application, because it does tend to get a little bit confusing. But just try to market ourselves a lot more and make sure that people know who we are, what we can do to help them, and hopefully provide whatever resources they need for their organization's needs.
Thank you. Okay, I have a question. Channeling Jonathan. What does service mean to you?
So this is another question that we've gotten a lot, but I think the response is always the same for me, because at least over the years, well, I'm a senior now, so volunteering with the organizations that I've been fortunate to be a part of, and just being enriched by the experiences, service as a whole for me means that you support your community partner as much as you can, to the point where you're no longer needed, that they're finally self-sustainable. Like, that's for me at least the true meaning of what service means, and where it finally could end, because a lot of organizations, they do have really good goals about helping the community, but I feel like at the center of that, it should be to support until you're no longer needed. So that's what service means to me, and I don't think it'll ever change, because it's just, service needs to be done everywhere, and a lot of people need it. But um, that's just my wholesome little definition of what service means to me.
Thank you. I also just realized that you had already came to council and answered these questions, so just feel free to give your 1-minute closing.
Okay, yeah, great, thanks. Well, I mean, being part of CS Meeting last year, it was a truly enriching experience. It was definitely nerve-wracking, but I was just so grateful to be a part of a group that had the same goal of trying to help every single organization accomplish its own goals. And I've had the pleasure of going to a conference last February and present about what I do in my own organization. And I feel like service is extremely needed, and especially in the area that I volunteer in, which is education. But service in general for me is just like one thing that I always want to do in my life, and it would just be amazing if I could be on CS Meeting again this year because I love the behind the scenes thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love volunteering and everything. But just being able to know and get that sense of accomplishment and satisfaction from being able to help people accomplish their own goals is just a gift.
Yay, thank you, Carlos. Okay, Ark, do you want to give your recommendation? Or technically, y'all don't have to because y'all already said 300 last time. Okay, does anybody have any comments that they want to make? If not, a motion. A motion to approve, Carlos, maybe.
Motion to approve Carlos Herrera to the committee. I'm sorry, reappoint.
CS Mini Fund Chair.
CS Mini Fund Chair.
Second.
Awesome. Breeze motions, Noe seconds. Justin, please. IVP?
Yeah.
EDP?
Yes.
Gen Rep 1?
Yes.
Gen Rep 2?
Yes.
AAC?
Yes.
CAC?
Yes.
CSE? Or see, yeah, I don't think Jonathan's here. FAC?
Yes.
FSC?
Yes.
SWC?
Yeah.
TSR?
Yes.
ISR? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. By a vote of 10 to 0, the motion passes and Carlos Herrera is appointed to the CS Mini Fund to be the chair. Congrats, Carlos. Thank you for coming again.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you guys have a good night.
You too. Awesome. Okay. Moving on to. Okay. So we struck. Okay. I see. Grace Leary to Campus Sustainability Committee. So Sachi, do you want to introduce Grace? And then actually, I forgot. Do we have to even do like this whole? Yeah, no, Sachi, all you have to do is just like say who she is and how you feel about her, and then we can just consent.
Cool. Yeah. Well, let me get my notes. 1 second. Cool. So yeah, Grace is a second year student at UCLA. In all of her interviews and applications, she showed that she was super knowledgeable and passionate about environmental justice. And she is really interested within the CSC committee in fostering inclusivity and making sustainability more accessible for all students. That is Grace, and I am very confident in her ability to serve on CSC.
Cool. Okay. Does anyone have any opposition to Grace's appointment? Okay. If there is no opposition, then Grace is appointed to the Campus Sustainability Committee. Awesome. I just want to check because Jessica just let me know that we do need quorum for anything other than discussions. So can y'all use the raise hand feature to make sure that we have quorum? Promise, are you here?
Yes.
Okay.
Hands.
Okay. Cool. So then we're good. We are exactly at 10. Unless Jonathan is here too. I don't think he is. Okay, it's fine. We'll keep going. Awesome. Moving on to Caitlin Raymond to John Wooden Center Board of Governors. Go ahead, Sachi.
Yeah, so Caitlin really stood out in our interview process because of her familiarity with John Wooden recreational facilities and her passion towards amplifying student voices within that committee. So I am very confident in her ability to serve on the John Wooden Board of Governors.
Awesome. Does anybody have any opposition to Caitlin's appointment? Okay, if not, then Caitlin Raymond is, oh, Bacher? Oh, that must be an old hand. Okay. Then Caitlin is appointed to the John Wooden Center Board of Governors. Awesome. So that's it for appointments tonight. Jessica, do we need to have quorum for officer reports too?
No, officer reports are fine without quorum because it's just, discussion more or less.
Okay.
You just can't take any action when you don't have quorum. So even if it's appointing somebody by consent, the fact that you're appointing somebody is still an action. So you just can't take any action when you're out of quorum.
Okay, cool. So we will not be taking action for the rest of the night because I believe we don't have quorum anymore. With Breeze leaving. So that's cool because all we have is just discussion items left. Moving on to officer reports. So mine will be relatively quick. I guess one of the main things that I wanted to report back was that I met with the education work group, which is under the COVID response and recovery team. And this week we had to talk about making a decision to whether or not we were going to allow new students who were coming to be allowed into labs on campus. Right now, we're teetering the line between like having too many students in labs and it being like unsafe, and then also making sure that like students, for example, grad students who like depend on their lab work still like can make their living, and also like undergrad students too. A final decision hasn't been made yet, or like a notification hasn't been sent out yet, but I just wanted to let you know that those are the conversations that are being had surrounded that. I also wanted to let y'all know I'm meeting with the infection control working group tomorrow. This is, I think, their first time meeting in a few weeks, and I was like newly appointed to this committee to kind of just talk about potential outbreaks or like preparing for the return of school. Next thing, we have our campus-wide email going out. I'm finalizing that tonight after this meeting, and then I'm going to be sending it over to Dr. Geller. So if you still haven't sent me your internship apps or like anything pressing that you want to add, please send it to me. I'm also taking out a lot of your all's verbiage just because our email's too damn long. And if we want students to read it, we do have to cut it out a little bit more. So I'll try to send it to you guys before I send it to Dr. Geller. And if you have anything to say,
It's 8 o'clock.
Sorry. If you have anything to say about the email, then just like send me your comments or like edits. I'm meeting with Monroe this Friday to talk about our pre-meeting for the chancellor. I meet with the chancellor next Friday, or not. Yeah, I meet with Monroe this Friday, and then I meet with the chancellor next Friday. So if y'all have any agenda items that you want me to bring up to the meeting with the chancellor, please let me know. It's possible that I can invite you to this meeting with Monroe on Friday. So if you have big items that y'all feel like the chancellor needs to address or needs to know about, again, please let me know. I have to submit my agenda by tomorrow. I'm planning on bringing up issues of policing, of course. And I feel like I have, and then also I believe basic needs too. But if y'all have anything else that y'all want me to add, please, again, let me know. And yeah, I guess the last thing is on Friday, I met with the Council of Presidents and we were discussing our agenda items for our meeting with President Drake. I believe our meeting is mid-October somewhere. So we have that coming up, and we are preparing to bring up a number of issues, also including basic needs and policing. So our top dogs are really getting hit with a lot of like the same questions. So let's hope that they can be responsive to our requests. Other than that, I am good. Emily?
Hi. Not too many updates from me. My Campus Safety Alliance will be having a meeting either during week 1 or week 2 in order to discuss COVID-19 guidelines and things like that for campus and Westwood. And they also released supported the UCPD report that folks are impersonating them and scamming people over the phone. So if anyone asks, like for example, one of my staff members actually texted me about this happening to them. There's a group of people who are spoofing the UCPD phone number and demanding money from people. So please boost that this is a scam. And then other than that, my institutional events committee is planning a major mentorship event on October 6th at 6 p.m. where incoming students can come and talk to returning students about majors that they're interested in. Thank you.
I'm muted, sorry. Jessica?
Sorry, I was trying to find my unmute. I don't have any updates today.
Awesome. Okay, Dr. Geller?
No updates.
Okay. Is Josh?
He had to step away.
Oh, okay. Fernando?
Oh shoot, my cam. No updates for me.
Okay. Patty?
No updates this evening.
Wow, awesome. Okay, I'll just like pretend to be Josh really quickly. I know Josh worked really hard for like back to school, like This Is Bruin Life and working with all of that. So if y'all haven't seen the show or like have an interest in promoting the show, they went over lots of like really good items of discussion, especially related to equity, diversity, and inclusion. So share that. And other than that, so I believe our last item of business is TGIF guideline amendments. Do we have quorum though? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Promise is here, so that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bacher and Jonathan, are y'all here? Or Bacher or Jonathan? As long as we have one, we're good. Jessica, if they're on camera but they're like not here, can we proceed still?
I think I would have to check because I think y'all approved some guidelines for remote or virtual meetings. I believe that you have to be present and participating to count towards quorum. Like if you step away, it's like as if you were stepping out of the room for a moment. So, I mean, even though they're here, they should really be, listening in. I mean, even though it's a consent item vote, as long as they're here and listening, it should be fine.
All right, I see Bacher's hand up. I don't know if it's an old hand.
I think it was an old hand.
I think it's a new one. Oh, Breeze.
Breeze is here. We can do it.
Okay. Breeze is here, so we're good. Now. All right. Sachi, go ahead.
Hello, thank you. Can I share my screen really quick? I guess it doesn't really it's not very necessary. I'm literally just adding one line to the TGIF guidelines. The line is, quote, student committee members shall receive a stipend in accordance with the USA financial guidelines. This is just to get our guidelines in alignment with the bylaw changes that we as council already passed. So that's it. And Jessica, can you like let me know or clarify like what we have to do as council now?
Sure. So this is just a consent item vote since it's funding guidelines. So Naomi can just call for a consent vote, basically asking if there's opposition. If there's none, it will pass, and then we'll just publish the updated form on our website and with the applications and whatnot.
Okay. So, Sachi, are you still going to share the screen?
Oh yeah, I can. Hold up.
Okay.
So, oh. Can you see? Sorry, I won't expand, but this is in section 1.3, member number and representation, and there's just a sentence here: student committee members shall receive a stipend in red.
Cool. Does anybody have any opposition to these amendments? Cool. Seeing as there's no opposition, then the TGIF guidelines are approved. And on that note, this meeting is adjourned at 8:08.
The recording has stopped.